We've currently got a special offer live now on poodlecfb.com for the launch of College Football 26. Use code KICKOFF, all caps, for $50 off the annual plan, or code KICKOFF 2025 for $5 off the monthly plan. You'll unlock exclusive spreadsheets, in-depth info, and our members-only Discord. Join hundreds of members in the fastest-growing CFB 26 community out there. Don't miss out and sign up now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 26 video, and today's video, I'm gonna be going over an insane recruiting glitch. Guys, we're running a special deal right now. If you use code FLASH, capital F, you'll get $65 off the annual plan. If you use code FLASH 2025, capital F, you get $7 off the monthly plan. This is the best deal so far of CFB 26. It's a grandfathered in deal, so if you lock this in, you get to keep this deal for the remainder of the lifetime of your membership. Check it out, guys. We just launched Player Calculator V1, which allows you to input your archetype, your skill points, and the level of your player, and it shows you exactly how long it'll take them to grow and how many skill points they need. It'll show you the fastest versus slowest growing archetypes. We launched our master spreadsheet, which has thousands of lines of data over multiple tabs. We have a lot of other tools over there that you guys want to check out. Want to be a part of the best discussions in the best community in CFB right now? Make sure to check it out, guys. The game got patched multiple times this week based off of testing and data that we have over there in poodlecfb.com. So come be a part of it. Sign up now. Use code FLASH or code FLASH 2025. All right, guys. So I'm going to be utilizing this in the regular season. This can also be done during the transfer portal. It's just a little bit different of the way you would do it in terms of speed in the transfer portal. But let's go and add some guys to our board. So I'm going to do a little bit mix of a few prospects here while doing this. Let's start with a 5-star right here. A few that are interested in us. We'll start with 2. I'm probably going to add 4 prospects to my board for the purpose of this video, so you guys can get a few different sample sizes. Then I'm going to add a guy in like second here. And again, I like to recruit guys that are actually on my board and it's a fight, not guys that I'm completely out of, especially when you're not later in the year with like your ideal coach build. So let's add a few guys here and let's see what we're looking at when we set these up. So let's come over to prospect board. First thing you want to do is offer your scholarships, of course. That's standard. Go through. This is just scholarship week, so there's not much more to do here. Of course, scout, do your diligence. Don't follow this exactly because again, I'm just gonna speed run through and show you the method versus like still scout, still pick exactly who you want and get your board set together. But once you get that done, you can go ahead and advance once your whole board's set up and you've offered your scholarships. I'm doing this before. This could be done with many more, but I do want to break down a few things later in the video in terms of how to optimize this with like coaching packages and a few other things. So definitely stay tuned for that. But let's get into it. So recruiting, let's go back. It's time to add your hours and make sure you're still doing your due diligence in terms of recruiting too, in terms of adding hours. So I do find this interesting with like even myself. I've done this when utilizing like methods or secret strategies. I'll find myself going straight for the strategy and forgetting to do like my still actual recruiting stuff. So make sure you add your hours. I've seen people do it and be like, hey, it didn't work. It's like, yeah, because you didn't add hours. You're still going to lose. So make sure you're still adding hours. This method is on top of the hours you're adding. So make sure to still do that. So we have our hours added. Let's keep advancing through. You can't utilize this method until you are in the top 5. So you got to get into the top 5 on this board for you to actually be able to go ahead and do it. So let's advance through again and see where we're at. Now that we're in the top 5 on one player, I'm going to be showing you what this actually looks like, and that's going to be scheduling a visit. So let's schedule a week 3 visit on this player and let's see what we got. So obviously when scheduling a visit, make sure you pick their best possible grade. And if you don't know what grade to do or you don't have any green yet, check their deal breaker, which is right behind my webcam. So let me open that up for you guys. Whatever their deal breaker is, that's also going to be one of their green motivators. That one is also B. So I'm going to stick with brand exposure on this one for obvious reasons. The other guys I don't believe are in the top 5 yet. So we're going to operate off this one player for the time being. And let's keep moving through. Let's advance again, see where they land after this top 5, advance, and keep moving through. So the way this is going to work is it's going to be centered around visits, and there's some ways to optimize this with packages, like I said, and that's why it's super important to stay tuned for that, because there's certain ways to really just take this to the next level. So we're in the Missouri week, so it's time to actually probably hard sell, and we're going against another visit there. That's going to be against a week 7 visit, so they obviously don't watch your videos and know nothing about scheduling a visit in week 7. It's pretty pointless. I have a lot of people, by the way, comment that and say, hey, week 7 visits work really well for me. It's like, yeah, if you're in an offline league, that might be a thing that sometimes works, but like in most leagues, and if you have elite recruiter or any of that, I see 5 stars closing out by like week 3. Trust me, that is not the way to do it. So there we go. Let's add Gym Rat on there. I'm only gonna throw a little 10 extra points because we are going against the CPU, so we don't want to overdo it here, so I can still show you what's going on with this. So let's advance past the visit week. So as you guys see, our week 3 visit did go through. Now the glitch here, and again, it's always hard to utilize against the CPU because they're just going to destroy them. But the glitch here is actually, look, we're about to commit on a few of these guys, right? We're about to commit here on this one, and these were in the top 3. That visit gave us a huge boost. But imagine this. What if you could do it again? You're actually able to take this guy off your board like this, hold Y on him, and let's go find him again. Hopefully I can find him again. His name was Victor. I just saw him right there. Let's go back to recommended. Let's go. Make sure you take a screenshot of these guys. There's so many recruits this year. You could really lose a guy. So let's go back to Vince Cobbs. Add him back to our board where we're top on him. You can then offer another scholarship, and you could schedule him for a secondary visit in week 5. And you could schedule him for now athletic facilities that we know is even better. We could add our actions. We could hard sell him. Go back in. Make sure we get this hard sell back on the guy. And essentially, you're able to add a secondary visit, get the interest again for it, and you locked out every other team. So there's so much going on here, guys. And we're going to go through and add some visits to these guys and do something very similar to try to get a feel for this. But the beauty of this is a few things. First, visits are some of the most impactful things you can do in this game. Now, I know a lot of people say, yo, you don't need visits, they're a waste. If you're in an online league that's comp, everyone knows. If you're in a close race and that one person gets that week 3 visit or that week 4 visit, you're sweating because you know it is absolutely over and you're likely going to lose the recruit that you were going for. And that's a very, very annoying thing. If you see me moving, by the way, when I do videos, that's because this microphone covers my motivations. So I have to like go around and see it. But to make a long story short here, guys, we were able to add a secondary visit here that locks people out. So let's say you're doing a week 3 visit and you get a big interest boost. You can then come in and do a week 5 to make sure no one could beat you at the later stages of it. So first, you lock people out. So this is very huge when in the transfer portal, especially considering you can schedule week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. There's no waiting. So if you can get on, especially in an online league, if you can get on right at advanced time and quickly lock everyone out of week 1, that's a big bonus. Because then if they go into week 2, you can then relock week 3. Or if people like forget and don't do week 2, you can then do week 2 or week 2 after, week 3 after, and just lock anyone else out who may want to join that one late. But in the regular season especially, there's a little bit more time. So in the case that you do have some weird scheduling issues or you don't have a home game to week 4, there's a few ways to go about doing this. But as you see, we now have visits on all of them. So we've now locked anyone out of week 5, which is great because that stops anyone from messing with us there. We've locked anyone out of week 5 here. And in the case that we get to week 5 in one of these battles, we can still lock week 7. In the case that anyone wants to come back around and get you. Now, where this works even better, and again, this is just a test, and I'm offline doing this all. If you were in an online league, and let's say you had scheduled week 1 and week 2 home games, and you had like elite recruiter, you can get into it super early. You could lock a week 1 before other people even are thinking about doing certain things. Or you could lock a week 1, and then they might not have a home game to week 4, and you could relock week 3 and beat them before then. So that's the other thing. A lot of people may not have a home game to week 4, 5, 6. If you have one of the lucky ones to have weeks 1 through 3, or if you're in an offline league and you want to manually create your schedule, that's another factor here. If you have a week 2 home game and a week 3, you could lock week 2, and then maybe you could lock week 5, and you could lock someone else out. What I also recommend doing is checking the schedules of your opponents and seeing when they have a home game. Because what people do is they don't want to waste their visit points early in the year because they're trying to commit recruits before you cut players off your board. So another strategy here would be this. Let's say you're going against someone who only has a week 5 home game and you know they're going to place their visit that week, but they may not place it in week 1 because they're like, oh, I'll wait. He already put his visit on week 2. I'll just wait. You can then in week 3 do this method, reschedule for week 5 and lock them up before they can do it. So that's something that happens a lot in the regular season. I do it all the time. I'm literally sitting here sometimes like, my board looks really good. I don't want to drop anyone off my board. You know what? My first visit's week 5. I'll put it up in the hands of fate. If I get to week 4 and I have a chance, I'll mark that week 5 visit. If not, I'll save my points. That happens a lot. So in this case, you can come back week 3 or 4 and relock them out and completely prevent them from having any chance, especially if they had a lead on you and you're trying to catch up. This works really well against teams like Ohio State or UGA, Georgia. If you're coming from behind and you're trying to utilize visits and they're going to need a visit to counter you. This is great in those situations. It's great to get huge leads, rug pull, and then drop out once you get a huge lead. Like in this sense, basically right here, if I wanted to, I could almost just drop out on this one because I know he doesn't have a week until week 7 visit, and at any moment I could just click him off. And likely the person you're going against probably pulls their offer at this point because they're just wasting points. So we're going to advance again, and you're going to see we're going to get the commit with that week 7 or that extra week 5 visit because we've blocked anyone else out. We have our points in. We're good to go. Now, this will be very different, like I said, in an online league from the perspective of closer battles. You won't take as huge of a lead so easily. It's very different in those senses because in an online league, in an offline league where they don't recruit well, that's kind of how that works. But guys, this is very, very, very cool. It allows you to do so many different things from a recruiting standpoint in terms of hurting your opponents, and that's what I really like about it. Not only can you stop them, you can help yourself. And there's a little bit more here because you can actively make this better by setting up a few foundational pieces. And over on poodlecfb.com, guys, I'll break this all down. If you're a member and you're watching this, I'm going to break this all down a little bit better and go through like strategic situations to do it, ways to optimize it, and a little bit better, like more nitty gritty ways. If you guys aren't a member, make sure to check it out. You guys know the code. You've heard it 100 times. But let me go over to some of the ways to optimize the recruit visit glitch. And that's going to be coming over to coach abilities. and make sure you have the right thing. So first off, if you happen to have a CEO coach, I'm not saying you need this, but if you happen to have a CEO coach, you can go ahead and go to more the merrier and increase number of players you can visit in a week to 8. So currently the only limitation on this is you can only do it on 4 players at a time, which stinks. But with this year, with the addition of proximity bonuses, like only 10 points on the discount, which means when you tried this last year, it was 40 points each. That's 160 points for 4 players. And then you want to do it another week, that's another 160 points. You're really using a lot of points here. Now it's only 40 points if you get 4 10-point visits, and if you have more than merrier, it could be 80 points with 8 10-point visits. So this is a great ability to really maximize, like locking out your entire board in 1 week. You have a week 2 opportunity. You apply everyone to a visit, and you lock people out the next week again. Definitely super cool. But if you don't have that one, obviously, I mean, there's other things here that you could utilize, like strategists. So for me, first and foremost, the tier 3, lower the threshold. It's not going to help you specifically with this, but it will open your board up more. It allows you to get into some more races where you could possibly use this method on. But more importantly, tier 1 and tier 2 visits have a bigger impact on prospects in tier 2, and complimentary visits have a boost. So let's just say you're doing this on I would recommend doing this, like do a cornerback, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, and let's say safety. I don't know if safety quarterbacks are complementary or not, but essentially they're all defensive players. They'll complement each other, and you'll get a boost for bringing them all together. This package will then boost that more. And then if you have hospitality, your visits get a bigger bonus. The complimentary visits get a bigger bonus, and you're already getting a bonus for those things to begin with. So this will make your visits like really OP. So if you're going to go the route of trying this glitch as like your exclusive recruiting method in certain situations, or you want to have it like an ace up your sleeve, like when you need it to go, I recommend you go ahead and get at least these first 2 packages to amplify your visits, and that will help a lot. And of course, in Recruiter, you can also try to maximize that a little bit better if you want to. I don't recommend it necessarily, but you can do Portal King, transfers more interested, and then you can also have recruiting actions have a bigger impact here as well. But this isn't directly related to visits and recruiting, and this isn't directly related to the method itself. This is just, you should get Elite Recruiter. It's really great. But those are ways to optimize it. Again, over on poodlecfp.com, we'll go into it a little bit deeper and kind of go through exactly when I would utilize this, and strategic situations where you don't want to use it, and so on and so forth, guys. But that basically is the recruiting glitch. This glitch did work last year, and I'm really shocked they didn't remove it, because, and now I've heard some people comment like, oh, the interest gain isn't as big as the first visit. And while that may be true in some instances, you're still locking people out. Like to me, that's like, especially with 10-point visits now, which made it even better, you're still locking people out of doing things against you. And in most cases in a visit battle, as you guys know, there's a few things. You're coming from behind, and your visit gets you right there or close, but then they have a visit and they're going to beat you. This locks them from doing that in some instances. There's some instances where you're a tied race and your visit, you just need a visit to pull you ahead. You do that and then you lock them out. And there's instances where you have a lead already. You take a huge visit lead so you could rug pull them, and then you could even block the only week they could counter you in. And of course, like I said, checking your opponent's schedules are really important for this. So always check your top 5, top 3, or who you suspect. Like Clemson and Georgia are giving you the biggest run for your money on this guy. Always check that out. I'm surprised they let this still be here this year. I thought they would have made it so if you take a player off your board out of the top 5, like it locks you automatically. I thought they would have made it so you can't apply a secondary visit again. But guys, that's about it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to get a part of all these discussions where we find these glitches, these methods, where we do data studies, our data team, and our amazing community of about 1,000 people at this point, guys, which is also super huge. Thank you all who have been a member. Check it out, poodlecfp.com. Use code KICKOFF, all caps, for $50 off the annual plan, and code KICKOFF 2025, all caps, for $5 off the monthly plan. Come check it out, guys. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace.